Welcome back to the channel. Today we're unpacking The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, a modern classic that has transformed millions of lives around the world. In this book, Hal Elrod proposes something deceptively simple but wildly powerful, that how you start your morning determines the success of your day, your week, your month, and ultimately your life. If you've been feeling stuck, unmotivated, or like you're capable of more but haven't unlocked it yet, this book offers a clear path forward. One morning at a time. The Miracle Morning is not about perfection. It's not about waking up at 5 a.m. just for the sake of it. It's about consciously choosing to start your day with intention, clarity, and purpose, and stacking small daily habits that lead to extraordinary results. Hal created this routine after hitting rock bottom, financially, physically, and emotionally. He was desperate for a way to change his life, and in that desperation he discovered a process that would ultimately help people all over the world change theirs. Let's explore exactly what that process is, starting with Hal's story, then breaking down the 6 foundational habits that make up what he calls savers. These are the daily rituals that can elevate your mindset, discipline, productivity, and overall joy. This isn't just a book summary. It's your morning reset. Hal Elrod's story, from tragedy to transformation. Before we dive into the system, it's worth understanding where it all came from. Hal Elrod wasn't always a personal development guru. At 20 years old, he was a top sales rep for a major company, living what he thought was a successful life. Then everything changed. He was hit head-on by a drunk driver at 70 miles per hour. He was clinically dead for 6 minutes, broke 11 bones, and was told he'd never walk again. But he did walk. And not just that, he ran a marathon, built a business, and rebuilt his life. Then came the 2008 financial crash. Hal lost almost everything again: his business, his finances, and his confidence. In the middle of his depression, he asked himself a crucial question: what can I do to become the person who can turn this all around? That question led him to create a simple morning routine. He started waking up early and incorporating 6 practices into his mornings: silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing. Within months, his life transformed. And he realized he was onto something powerful. Something repeatable. Something he could share. The concept: why your morning matters so much. Most people wake up with urgency, not intention. They hit snooze, grab their phones, and rush into the day. They're in reaction mode before their feet even hit the floor. Hal Elrod believes this is the root of underachievement. If you start the day disorganized, stressed, and behind, it's almost impossible to catch up, let alone operate at your highest level. The Miracle Morning flips that script. It's about taking control of your first waking hour to set the tone for the rest of your day. And the ripple effects are massive. When you win the morning, you win the day. When you win enough days, you win your life. That's not a cliché, it's a pattern. And Elrod makes a compelling case that this pattern is available to anyone, regardless of their background, personality, or current habits. He insists that you don't have to be a morning person. You just have to be someone who wants to grow. Because the Miracle Morning isn't about waking up early, it's about waking up with purpose. The Savers Framework: 6 practices to transform your life. At the heart of the Miracle Morning are 6 personal development habits that Hal Elrod calls the savers. Each letter stands for one of the 6 tools you'll use in your morning routine. These are silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing. Let's dive deep into each one. Silence: creating space for clarity and peace. Most people wake up and immediately reach for stimulation: emails, notifications, news. But Elrod argues that starting your day in silence is the fastest way to connect with clarity, peace, and purpose. Silence doesn't just mean sitting quietly. It can include meditation, deep breathing, prayer, or even intentional stillness. The point is to calm your nervous system and ground yourself before the chaos of the day begins. When you start with silence, you send a signal to your brain: I'm in control. You create space for your thoughts to settle. You allow insights to emerge. And over time, you cultivate a sense of inner peace that carries into everything else you do. For many, this single shift is enough to reduce anxiety, increase focus, and spark creative breakthroughs. Affirmations: programming your mind for success. Affirmations get a bad rap. Some people think they're cheesy or ineffective. But Elrod reframes affirmations as a tool to rewrite your internal dialogue. Most people have a negative inner voice, filled with doubt, fear, and limitations. Affirmations are about consciously choosing the words you want to hear, then repeating them until they become your new truth. Effective affirmations aren't just fluffy statements like, I am rich. They're specific, emotionally resonant, and tied to action. For example, I am committed to becoming a disciplined, focused, and energized person. I follow through with my habits no matter how I feel, because I know consistency creates freedom. That's not wishful thinking, that's mental conditioning. Elrod encourages writing your affirmations and reading them daily. Over time, they rewire your beliefs, and beliefs shape behavior. So if you want to change your actions, start by changing your story. Visualization, seeing success before it happens. Visualization is used by elite athletes, high performers, and world-class creators. The science is clear. When you vividly imagine yourself succeeding, your brain activates the same regions as when you actually do the activity. In other words, the mind can't tell the difference between imagined success and real success, so why not use that to your advantage? In your miracle morning, visualization means closing your eyes and seeing yourself living your ideal life. See yourself waking up with energy, showing up with confidence, handling challenges with grace. See the details. Feel the emotions. Experience the moment before it happens. This isn't just feel-good fantasy. It trains your brain to believe a new reality is possible and worth pursuing. When combined with affirmations, visualization becomes a powerful force that pulls you toward your goals with emotional intensity. Exercise, activating energy and momentum. Next is exercise. Elrod doesn't suggest you need to run 10 miles every morning or lift heavy weights at dawn. The goal of morning exercise is to activate your body, wake up your mind, and elevate your emotional state. Even a few minutes of movement can create massive benefits for your energy, focus, and mood. Exercise increases blood flow to the brain, releases endorphins, and helps clear mental fog. It gets you out of your head and into your body. You're no longer sluggish, reactive, or distracted. You're awake. You're sharp. You're ready. And that readiness spills over into every decision you make for the rest of the day. Some miracle morning practitioners do yoga, stretching, push-ups, or take brisk walks. Others hit the gym later in the day and just use the morning for light movement. The form isn't the focus. The goal is momentum, and motion creates emotion. Even 5 minutes of intentional movement can completely shift your state. Reading, feeding the mind with wisdom. The R in Savor stands for reading. But not just any reading, reading with intention. This is your opportunity to absorb wisdom, elevate your thinking, and expose your mind to new ideas. Most people never read another book after school. Elrod challenges us to do the opposite. Become lifelong learners. Read daily, even if only a few pages. Choose books that support your growth. Whether it's mindset, productivity, relationships, health, or spirituality, reading is a shortcut to success. You're tapping into the knowledge, strategies, and perspectives of people who've already walked the path. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to study the right maps. In a single year, you can read 12 to 24 books just by reading 10 to 15 minutes a day. That's a university-level education in personal development, and it's entirely self-directed. When you feed your mind daily, you sharpen your edge. You upgrade your identity. And you gain the insights needed to make better decisions faster. Scribing, clarifying thoughts through writing. Finally, the S stands for scribing, a fancy word for journaling. Writing each morning helps you process your thoughts, gain clarity, and track your growth. It gives your mind a place to unload, explore, and reflect. It's not about being a great writer. It's about creating space to think. You can journal in many ways. Some people write about what they're grateful for. Others jot down their goals, challenges, or lessons learned. Some follow prompts like, "What am I feeling? What am I avoiding?" Or, "What's one action I can take today that aligns with my best self?" The form doesn't matter. What matters is the honesty. Writing allows you to slow down. It helps you zoom out from the chaos and see the patterns in your life. It helps you track your transformation and reconnect with what matters most. Over time, journaling becomes a mirror, showing you who you are, who you're becoming, and where you need to adjust. Putting it all together, crafting your miracle morning. Now that you know what the 6 savors are, how do you actually put them into practice? Elrod recommends starting with a 1-hour morning routine, 10 minutes for each practice. But he also offers a condensed version called the 6-minute miracle morning for days when you're short on time. The goal is consistency, not perfection. Here's how a typical hour might look. 5 minutes of silence to center your mind. 5 minutes reading your affirmations aloud. 5 minutes visualizing your ideal day or goals. 20 minutes of movement, yoga, bodyweight exercises, or cardio. 15 minutes of reading a great personal development book. 10 minutes of journaling or reflecting. You can adjust the time blocks to suit your lifestyle. What matters most is that you do all 6, in whatever form works best for you. The compound effect of these 6 habits, practiced daily, is life-changing. It's not hype. It's alignment. It's momentum. And it's proven. Waking up early, breaking the snooze cycle. Of course, the biggest challenge for many people is actually waking up early. Hitting snooze is a habit, and Hal Elrod argues that it's a symbolic one. When you hit snooze, you're essentially saying, my life isn't worth waking up for. That may sound harsh, but it's a wake-up call, literally. The key to breaking the snooze habit is setting a powerful intention before bed. Don't go to sleep dreading the morning. Go to sleep excited about who you're becoming. Shift your internal dialogue from I hate mornings to tomorrow is another step toward my dream life. You'd be amazed how this simple shift affects how you feel when the alarm goes off. Elrod also suggests putting your alarm across the room, brushing your teeth immediately upon waking, and drinking a full glass of water to rehydrate and energize your body. These physical cues signal to your brain, the day has begun. It's time to move forward. Overcoming resistance, the internal dialogue trap. Anytime you start something new, your inner voice will resist. You'll hear thoughts like, this is too much, I'm not a morning person, or I'll start tomorrow. That's your lower self, the part of you invested in staying the same. Elrod teaches that motivation isn't about always feeling inspired. It's about choosing who you want to be regardless of how you feel. He urges readers to remember their why. Why do you want to wake up earlier? Why do you want to improve your habits? Why are you doing this at all? When your why is strong, the how gets easier. When you reconnect with your purpose, resistance loses power. The first few days will be hard. The first week will test your discipline. But once the new habit kicks in, you'll feel the shift. You'll crave the quiet. You'll enjoy the structure. And you'll begin to see results that multiply over time, in your mindset, your confidence, and your ability to follow through. The 30-day challenge, creating lasting change. Elrod lays out a 30-day miracle morning challenge as a way to lock in the habit. He breaks it down into 3 10-day phases. The first 10 days are unbearable. You'll want to quit. It won't feel natural. The second 10 days are uncomfortable. You're still adjusting but starting to feel proud. The final 10 days are unstoppable. The routine feels normal, maybe even necessary. This framework is crucial. It normalizes the discomfort. It reminds you that resistance is temporary, and mastery is coming. If you commit to the full 30 days, you'll not only create a powerful morning habit, but you'll also prove something to yourself, that you are capable of changing your life one decision at a time. Beyond the morning, creating a miracle life. The miracle morning isn't just about what happens between 6 o'clock and 7 a.m. It's about who you become because of how you start your day. Over time, these 6 practices rewire your identity. You no longer think of yourself as someone who struggles with consistency, discipline, or self-worth. You begin to see yourself as a high-performing, high-consciousness individual, someone who shows up every day with intention. And that identity shift affects every area of life. Your health, your relationships, your finances, your productivity, your creativity. You don't just get better mornings. You get a better life, because you're bringing your best self into each moment. You stop operating from stress and survival. You start leading from clarity and vision. Elrod calls this level 10 living. Most people want level 10 results in life. They want exceptional relationships, finances, careers, and health, but they're showing up as level 2 versions of themselves. The miracle morning is the bridge. It's how you rise into the level of person who naturally creates that extraordinary life. Not through luck, through process, through habits, through alignment. Stories of transformation, real people, real results. What makes the miracle morning movement so powerful isn't just Hal Elrod's personal transformation. It's the thousands, now millions, of people who have taken the challenge and changed their lives. From CEOs and athletes to students and single parents, people from every walk of life have used this method to create profound change. There are stories of people doubling their income, overcoming depression, healing relationships, writing books, losing weight, launching businesses, and they all attribute the momentum to their mornings. Why? Because when you start your day by feeding your mind, body, and spirit, you make decisions from a higher place. You start playing offense instead of defense. You become someone who leads your life, instead of someone life happens to. One woman shared that she had struggled with anxiety for years. After 30 days of the miracle morning, her mornings became her sanctuary. Her journal became her therapist. Her affirmations became her new self-talk. She didn't just manage her anxiety, she transformed her relationship with herself. Another example, a man who had always wanted to start a business but never found the time. After beginning his miracle morning, he used his scribing time to brainstorm, his reading time to study entrepreneurship, and his silence time to visualize his future. Within 6 months he launched a profitable company, all starting with 1 quiet hour each morning. These stories aren't magic. They're momentum. They're what happens when you commit to becoming more. Customizing your miracle morning. Make it work for you. Elrod makes it clear, the miracle morning isn't rigid. It's adaptable. If an hour feels like too much, start with 30 minutes. If mornings are chaotic because of kids, work, or life, wake up just 15 minutes earlier and build from there. It's not about being perfect. It's about progress. You can also modify the order of savers. Some people like to read first. Others prefer to journal last. The important thing is to do all 6 practices consistently. Over time they become rituals, anchors that ground you each day. You can also stack habits. For example, listen to an audiobook while walking or jogging. Repeat your affirmations while stretching. Meditate after journaling. The flexibility allows the system to feel personalized, not forced. And remember, missing a day doesn't mean you failed. Life happens. The power of the miracle morning lies in the commitment to return, again and again, to the practices that raise your standard and remind you of your power. The miracle evening, ending with intention. Although the book focuses on mornings, Hal also touches on the value of a miracle evening. How you end your day affects how you begin the next one. A few nighttime rituals can support your morning success. These include reviewing your wins for the day, reaffirming your goals, visualizing the next morning's success, preparing your space and tools for the next day. Just 5 to 10 minutes of intentional winding down can create mental peace and help you wake up with clarity and purpose. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters and ending each day with intention. The big idea: you are one morning away from a new life. If there's one message the miracle morning delivers above all, it's this: you are just one decision away from a different life. And that decision begins each morning. When you choose to wake up and live with intention, you take control of your mindset, your actions, and your outcomes. You're not at the mercy of motivation. You're not defined by your past. You are an evolving, powerful creator, and your mornings are the most consistent opportunity to design your day, your week, your future. You don't have to overhaul your life overnight. You just have to start. 1 hour. 1 decision. 1 miracle morning at a time. Hal Elrod's personal journey, from a near-death experience to financial collapse to global impact, is proof that we all have the capacity for rebirth. You don't need to wait for a tragedy to transform. You can choose growth now. You can become the person who lives with purpose, courage, and discipline, before the world forces your hand. You don't have to figure everything out. You just have to show up. And the miracle morning gives you the map. Conclusion: your next step starts tomorrow morning. So now the question is, what will you do tomorrow morning? Will you hit snooze and drift? Or will you rise with intention and lead your life? If you're ready to take the challenge, commit to the 30-day miracle morning. Set your alarm, prepare your savers tools, and make the next 30 days the beginning of your transformation. Keep a journal. Track your progress. And most of all, stay curious about what's possible. Because once you realize the power of your morning, you'll never go back to sleepwalking through life again. Your new life begins, not someday, but now. When the sun rises, so do you. Thanks for being here. If this summary helped you, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more voiceover-style deep dives into life-changing books. Until next time, take charge of your mornings and you'll take charge of your future.